What is the best part of your day? What's the best part? Now, if we're spiritually correct, and we're using spiritually correct language, spiritually correct terminology, spiritually correct thinking, we'll say that there's no best part of the day. But we all know that that's bullshit, right? On some level, we know spiritually correct language is bullshit. It's like politically correct language. It's bullshit. If you speak spiritually correct language, or if you speak politically correct language, on some level, you know you're just bullshitting somebody, right? You know, you're importing a paradigm of speech patterns that are somehow designed to ameliorate a difficult situation and harmonize the serrated edge of intersubjective space that seems to be cutting everybody involved. Now, spiritually correct. What a joke. What a joke. Spiritually correct language, as I've indicated elsewhere, is our attempt to be perfect, with a conceptual anchoring in the notion of perfection. And that's important because we have an intuition of perfection, which guides us. But it is an intuition, and as a concept, perfection can be awfully totalizing, awfully totalitarian. That's crazy. Spiritual totalitarianism doesn't make sense. But try to be perfect according to the concept of perfection, and you'll find yourself in a cave mortifying your flesh. Or you'll just be reading books all day and trying to convince yourself that you're having the best thoughts possible, that you're just in the realm of the best. But like I said, I believe that perfection is an intuition of a state of realization, and that our minds, having the kind of receiving the echoes of that intuition that comes from deep within us, then appropriate the echoes of that intuition as a concept that then dominates consciousness, dominates the mind. So fuck spiritual correction. That's spiritually correct language. What I want to get at today is ecstasy. Ekstasis, if you go back to the ancient Greek. I was fortunate enough to study ancient Greek for about 2 years. Fucking a mind-blowing language. Ekstasis essentially means to stand outside oneself. So ecstasy is standing outside of oneself. Now, I want to talk about my moments of ecstasy as my best moments, right? And I want to look at my best moment of ecstasy as a reverberating phenomena that spreads out polymorphically across my day like a rhizome of a million lotuses that pop, pop, poop, pop, pam, boom, pam, bam. That. And I'm going to start off by telling you what is my first moment of ecstasy, of ecstasis, of standing outside of myself in the morning. This, chock full of nuts. Dark, it's bold, it's 100% Arabica, it's New York roast, and most importantly, it's intense. Chock full of nuts. Now, I lived in New York City for 8 years. I never had this. When you're in New York, you don't do things that say they're from New York. For example, you don't wear a shirt that says I love NY. If you see someone wearing that shirt in New York City, they're not from New York. My father once bought me a I love New York shirt or hat when I was living in New York, and I was like, ooh, you know, I can't wear that because I don't want to be alienated from my fellow New Yorkers. Another way that you can tell a New Yorker, and this is very obvious to New Yorkers, And even though I'm not in New York, I feel like a New Yorker at heart. It's the only place I feel at home. As that New Yorkers aren't looking at the skyscrapers. They're always looking ahead, and they're always moving around people. Always. Because the people they're moving around are looking at the skyscrapers. And New Yorkers have just got somewhere to go. Now, I used to be prejudiced against New Yorkers before I lived there, because I used to think that they were really like hard-hearted, cold, snobby people. But that was just a generalization, a stereotype. They're in a kind of very intense microcosm of energy, which can feel very neurotic. I know that when I first went there, I felt the neurosis of that city. I felt it acutely, and I had to go back to Colorado a few times. I had been meditating so much, and I had just kind of realized myself as sensitivity, capital S sensitivity, but I didn't have any armament, right? Because Boulder is like the bliss realm. It's an oasis of God and goddess energy. Then you go to New York and you get hit from 1,000 different directions by bullets of neurotic energy. And if you don't have any armament, you can't handle it. You go down. You go down. I went down. Oh man, I remember having to meditate for hours in the supine position on a bed because I was so fucking bamboozled and crushed and torpedoed by New York's neurotic energy. Very much the opposite of my ecstasy, my ecstasis. So, in the morning, coffee. Ah, we all know that drug. And there's a Keurig machine. Now, a Keurig machine is, you put one of these in a Keurig machine. This is a capsule. And there's a lever, and you push it down, and ideally the Keurig machine is on, and when it's ready to brew, you pick the size. I pick this size, and you press the button, and the coffee comes down. It's like you're at a bar in a restaurant, and you're pulling the tap, right? And the coffee comes down. But guess what? This is where I initiate ecstasy and inaugurate my day as ecstasy. Because this is not under the Keurig. Yeah. This is on the other side of the kitchen, waiting for me. It's 12 feet away. I press that button. The coffee's gonna come down in 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 seconds. And if there's not a fucking coffee cup there, my mom's gonna bitch me out, and I'm gonna have to leave. There's no more holidays at the Benet house. Okay? I put this coffee cup on the other side of the kitchen. I have got to sprint to go get it, and then bring it back and put it underneath. I'm gonna keep it here, fuck it. Put it underneath the Keurig. And that's my moment of ecstasis. I've engineered it for myself, and my reward is chock full of nuts. My reward is Cafe Bustelo, but not really. And this is where we go so much deeper into the nature of ecstasis, standing outside of oneself. And I'm gonna need both hands for this, so I'm gonna put the cup down. When I sprint to the other side of the kitchen and I grab the coffee cup and put it underneath it, and then the coffee drips into it, I've had my self-initiated ecstasis. I'm outside of myself, I'm sprinting, and I'm creating this feeling of being more alive than the moment before. At that point in the day, I've only been awake for 20 minutes, but that's already my best point of the day for those 20 minutes. I've already maxed out. I've already had my orgasm within 20 minutes if I haven't been autoerotic upon awakening before that, which is a frequent occasion. So, a second orgasm. 20 minutes, but easily my best. Why? because it's so fucking absurd. It's suprasensibly nonsensical. Oh shit. I just had another moment of ecstasy just because I coined that. It's suprasensibly nonsensical. But like I said, it's not about the coffee. It is, yeah, but it isn't. It's not about the sprint. It is, yeah, but it isn't. And to understand the distinction, I'm going to have to go again into ancient Greek, and I'm going to have to borrow or elaborate upon or elucidate some thinking by the German philosopher Martin Heidegger, who essentially says that human beings are collectively disenfranchised, or at least the ones in the West, because those are the ones he was talking about mostly, because they've lost their fundamental a priori relationship with being, so to speak. And he looked at two ancient Greek words, or phrases, so to speak. One is onto, and the other is enai. Now, onto, just think of onto, but O-N space T-O, means the thing which is. So if we were just to talk about this cup and its capacity as a cup, we would use onto, the verb onto, to whenever we're talking about it. And then he talks about the Greek word enai, E-I-N-A-I. And that is the being of the thing that is. Okay? It's the to be of the thing that is. And that's kind of strange. What is the being? Capital B E-I-N-G of the thing that is. The to be. Now I'm going to just start talking about this however I like. I don't give a fuck what he thinks at this point. I'm going to say that my ecstasy has to do with this kind of self-initiated, engineered, super sensible, nonsensical sprint across the kitchen. This is my enai with respect to this onto and this onto, right? And when I do the enai with respect to this onto and this onto, boom, it's enai. It's the capital B being of my super sensible nonsensicality in the moment that I just happen to fucking make up. Okay? I just made that shit up. Why? Because I want to experience the capital R reality, the real-ity of whatever the fuck. Whatever the fuck is happening in the moment. Whatever the fuck I create in the moment. I want to feel that voltage. I want to feel that ecstasis. So what I do is I turn the act of getting coffee into this celebration of being, of enai, of the ontos. And within 20 minutes, I've already cummed all over the kitchen. You see what I'm saying? Now that's one of my best moments, right? I will have normal moments, I have better moments, I will have best moments. But check this out. There is an umbrella. It's kind of like, imagine energy going up through your spinal cord, into your head, into your crown chakra, and then sprinkling itself like a golden shower throughout the day. You hit your best moments, all the other moments are saturated henceforth. Okay? There were other moments that I experience which are also sublime, that I initiate as sublime, as enai, as being, as the ontos of little things commingled upward and inward into capital B, being, and the ecstasis of feeling that being, going from this normal, relative, individualistic body-mind of Mark Benet and plugging that into enai, via ontos. Realizing myself as being in that ecstasy, And that comes from when I pick up the channel changer and I have seen that the TV is still on. Now, of course, it's not on Fox News, which is what it's on normally. The TV is not showing any images, but I can see that it hasn't been turned off because it's one of those sophisticated TVs that we didn't have when we were kids. When you were a kid, you fucking turn off the TV and it was off. Here, there's still like 2 things on even after you've turned it off. And so, since it's a subtle thing and people miss this, and since I'm attuned and I make it part of my self-orchestrated ecstasy to notice these things, it's a small degree of ecstasy, but I inflate it because I can. Because this is my answer to nihilism. Do you know what nihilism is? It's when your mind conceptualizes that concepts have no meaning. So you become intimate with this concept of nihilism, and you plant your heart right into the thought of nihilism, as the thought of nihilism looks out and sees nothing but abyss. And your heart moves into the nihilistic void by means of the concept of nihilism. Right there. That's my answer to nihilism, bitch. Bam! Turn off the TV. No more nihilism. No more Fox News. Now I have something else that I'm going to add to my schedule, to my rota, to my regimen. You like that? Sound a little bit like a life coach. This is for all the life coaches out there. I love you, but you're also a pathology upon civilization. Telling people how to gild their cages. Hey, let's make our cage so much more ornamental and enjoy our imprisonment. I'm your life coach. Charge me $50 an hour. Bam! My pencils. These are sharpened. I sharpened them recently. Now I'm like this kind of spaceship. What do they call it? Oh, I can't remember. Grunge, neo-realistic, industrial. I'll think of it later. So, I've already sharpened these pencils. Steampunk kind of thing. And if any of you know what this is an old school pencil sharpener. And when I sharpen my pencils, because I use these to underline in books in case I want to erase the underlinings and resell them later. That's the third thing I'm going to add after these pencils get dull. Now I want to wrap up by talking about one more thing. And again, I'm just going to kind of bastardize Heidegger because I want to. I take what I need. I recognize the genius in front of me, and then I roll into a new formation. I roller coaster out of there into an unknown land. So, aletheia. Aletheia is also a Greek word. A, meaning not, and lethe. Lethe comes from like the river Lethe, which means forgetting. So the river Lethe was what souls were dipped into to forget their previous lives. If you're into Plato's The Republic, the myth of is at the end of the Republic. It talks about souls being dipped into the river Lethe, and they forget the daemon, or the guiding spirit inside their soul, the guiding voice. Socrates had a daemon that always told him, know this, know that, know this, know this. N-O, not K-N-O-W. Easy confusion in this context. Aletheia is to unforget, is to uncover. In other words, aletheia is a revelation. Now, what is the revelation that I'm going for here? The revelation that I'm going for here is a reminder, an uncovering, an unforgetting, which is that in the face of nihilism, in the face of this collective insanity and this global psychosis, it's extremely important to remember that we are responsible on a daily basis for creating ecstasy.